Welcome back to the next segment. And as we look at the two concepts, the first one would be addition and subtraction of decimal fractions. The second one would be multiplication of decimal fractions. Let's look at the first one. For us to add and or subtract decimal fractions, one, we need to ensure that the fractional part of the decimal fraction has the same number of digits. And two, when adding and or subtracting decimal fractions, align digits according to their place value as you would with column addition and subtraction method. Let's look at an example. Calculate 2,304 plus 4,189. Get it? This is what we want to check first. 1, 3 decimals, so we can add. Makes sense. Now, solution would be, so we're having 1. We want to break this down according to their place value and write it in place value notation. So this would be 2 for the units or wholes, 3/3 for the 3 tenths for the 3 tenths, and 0 hundredths, 4 thousandths, plus this would be the beginning of the next decimal. 4 units, 1/10, 8 hundredths, 9 thousandths. And I then went on to just give them color coding so that we are able to classify them nicely. And again, remember what we requested. We start from the left, we add towards, from the right, we add towards the left. And let's do it. We have 9,000 plus 4,000, which this will give us this will be 13,000. But remember, the 1 forms part of the hundreds. Then we would then have to add the 1 to the 8 hundredths. Now you have 9 hundredths and 0 hundredths, which will give you, so we said this is now 3,000. This would be, we said 1 plus 8, which will give you 9, plus 0 remains 9. So you have 9 hundredths. Then you add the tenths now. You have 1 10 and 3 tenths, which gives you what? Plus 4 tenths. And then you add your units. This would be 4 plus 2, which gives you a 6. This is 6. Now, in all reality, your decimal should be 6,493. And this is what we get. 6,493. And let's move to the next question. Calculate the same number of values, which is 304 plus 4,189. Now we're going to use column method. Let's see how it goes. So we have your solution, and these are the values as they are. And we then, remember, we're going to align our decimal fractions according to their place value. And as we do that, we get this same thing. So 4 thousandths plus 9 thousandths would be 13 thousandths, which gives you a 3 here. We take the 100 to the next column. So it's 100 plus 0 hundredths, which will give you 1, plus 8 hundredths gives you 9. And then we move to the tenths column, which is now 3 tenths plus 1 tenth, which gives you 4 tenths, and you then move to your units. Now you have your 2 plus 4, which gives you a 6. Let's move to the next one. It's the same one, but issue is decimals are not the same. Remember what we said. We must have the same number of decimals for us to do this. Now this would be 94,5700 plus 153,0384. Now you have 4 decimals and 4 decimals. Then we align them according to their place value. So this would be 94,5700 plus 153,0384. Then we start adding. This is 10 thousandths plus 4 10,000ths, which gives you a 4, 0 tenth thousandths plus 8, thousandths plus 8 thousandths, which gives you an 8. So you have a 7 hundredths plus 3 hundredths, which gives you a 10 hundredths, which now we write only 0 because the 1 goes to the tenths column. So you have a 1 tenth plus 5 tenths, which now gives you 6, plus 0 tenths is now 6. And there's a comma. We move to your units. 4 units plus 3 units, which give you 7. Now you go to your tenths. 9 tenths plus 5 tenths will give you 14 tenths, but we only write the 4 there for tenths, and the 1 goes to the next column of hundredths. So you have 100 plus 100, which gives you 200. And this would be your answer, 247,608. Let's move to this next one. Write your zeros as I had said before. Then this is a subtraction question similar to the one we just did before, broken down and wrote it in place value notation, and you now then can subtract. Remember, when we subtract from the right, moving to your left. And as you do that, you'll then realize your answer would be 5,761. Make sense? You have 14,046 minus 8,285, which gives you 5,761. And we move to the next one. In comparison to the previous example, we're going to use column method. Let's see how it goes. Now we still have 14,046 minus 8,285. Now this is how we're going to do it. We remember must check the decimals. Now they are the same, and let's see the solution. Solution says we have our sum there, and the solution would be we have 14,046 subtract 8,285. Now we say 6,000 subtract 5,000, which will give you 1,000. And then we go and say 400 subtract 800. This can't happen. Now we go to the tenths column. Take from, but you see we can't take from a 0 there. Then we must go to the units column so that we take from, we're just going to take one of the units there, which will mean if we take 1, we'll be left with 3, and then we then have 10 tens here, but we are obviously taking 4 hundredths. So we must still take 1 from the tens, which now means we have 9 tenths, and we now have 14 hundredths. Now we can continue with our subtraction. Now we say 14 hundredths subtract 8 hundredths, which will give you 6 hundredths. And then we say 9 tens subtract 2 tens, which will give you 7 tens. And then we move on. Again, we stumble at this because we now have 3 units, subtract 8 units. And this can't be done. Now we then go and take from the tens. And if we take from the tens, we'll be left with a 0 here. And now we have 13 units. Now we say 13 units subtract 8 units, which gives you 5. And this is a 0, which has no value, which now means our answer would be 5,761. And let's look at the next one. We have 428 subtract 21,1927. And again, we want to check if we have the same number of decimal places. And you can see 72,428 has one less decimal place. So we're going to write a 0 after the last decimal. So this is going to be 72,428. Then we write that 0, which honestly does not add any value to this. Subtract 21,1927. Now let's subtract. Remember what we said. If the digit you are subtracting from is smaller than the one you are subtracting with, then you go and take from the previous one. Let's see. Can we have a 0 subtract a 7? No. So we go and take from the thousands column. So this will leave us with 7 thousands. Now we have 10 thousands. So we then say 10 thousands, subtract 7 10,000s, which gives us 3 10,000s. Then we go on and say 7 thousands, subtract 2 thousands, which gives us 5 thousands. Then we go and say 2 hundreds, subtract 9 hundreds. It can't be done. Then we must go and take from the previous digit. Now, if we take from the tens, we'll be left with 3 tens here, and we now have 12 hundreds. 12 hundreds, subtract 9 hundreds, which will, yes, give you 3 hundreds. Now we say 3 tens, subtract 1 10, which will leave you with 2 tens. Now you replace your comma there, then you go 2 units, subtract 1 unit, which will give you 1, and then you say 7 tens, subtract 2 tens, which will give you 5 tens. And your answer would be 51,2353. Get it? It's that easy. Let's move to the next concept. We're looking at multiplying decimal fractions to 3 decimal places. When multiplying decimal fractions, 1, decide how many decimal places the answer will have. Now, 2, how do we do that? We are going to add together the decimal places in each of the numbers you are multiplying together. So if I have a 0,3, I multiplied with a 0,23, this is what I'm good. There's 1 decimal here, and there's 2 decimals there. We're adding them together, so we have 1, 2, 3 decimals. Then let's look at what we do with that information. We multiply the decimals without the decimal comma, then place the decimal comma as per the number of decimal places we have above. So we know that this is going to be 23 times 3. So you will get 69 for that. Now this is 69, but we agreed that we must have 3 decimal places. So we're going to have a 0 here for the tens and a comma. Now this gives us 3 decimal places, and we can't just leave this. This would now be 0,69. Make sense? You will see as we do examples. Let's move to the examples. Calculate 0,3 multiplied by 0,08. Before we use that shortcut method, let's look at what other method we could use. First, we want to convert the decimal fractions to common fractions, then we multiply. Then don't forget to write the final answer as a decimal fraction because the question was given as decimals. Let's see. Solution. Converting 0,3 will give you 3 tens. Multiply by 0,08 will actually give you 8 hundredths. And this we then multiply common fractions. 3 multiplied by 8 should give you 24. And then we have 10 multiplied by 100, which gives you 1,000. And your answer would be 24,000. And converting this back to decimals will definitely give us 0,08. 0.24. Let's look at the same example using what we've just explained. 0.3 multiplied by 0.08. How many decimals do we have? 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 decimals. And our answer must have how many decimal places? 3 decimal places. Let's look at a solution. Solution would 0.3 multiplied by 0.08. This would be, we now know we are going to have 3 decimals. As we multiply, the 3 and the 8 should give us a 24. But this is how we would present our answer because we're looking for these 3 decimals. Does it make sense? Let's look at one more example. 0.015 multiplied by 0.3. Step number 1. How many decimal places should our answer have? 1, 2, 3. And this one, 4. So we know we're supposed to have 4 decimal places. And what do? We then multiply these numbers without the commas. So this would give us a 0015, which is 15, and a 03, which is 3. Now we know that we are going to have 15 multiplied by 3. And this gives us a 45. But remember, we said we must have how many decimal places? 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to write our 45. But we must have how many decimals? 4. So it's now we have 3. Now we have 4. And now we can bring back our comma and write our 0 there. The answer would be 0.0045. And this is our answer. And with that, let's go for an ad break.